guys, it's April and it's time for a June wrap-up. This, of course, is the second half of the month wrap-up part of my whole shindig dealio thing. I did a mid-month wrap-up, which I will link to now, in which I talked about all of the books I read in the first half of the month, plus that one little extra one that I forgot about last month. So, this last half of the month went a little slower for me. There's some things going on. I was a little anxious and stressed out for these last couple weeks. It's slowly starting to mellow out because things are starting to finalize themselves. I've been watching my parents' dog, and Fia doesn't really get along with her, so there's a little bit of stress there. And work has been threatening to send me to Germany for quite a while now, and it just got to the point where it's like, okay, this is gonna happen. And yes, today I finally got the tickets to go to Germany. So the last half of July, I will be in Germany. If you have any idea of all the extra little bits I should do while I'm in Berlin, let me know down below, because I am looking for some things to do in the evenings to keep myself occupied. I don't know. I'm just feeling things out right now. Now on to the actual reading part of the month. For this last half, I only read 7 books. A couple of those were really short stories or short novellas, because I've been in this weird mood where things that are long aren't keeping my attention because I'm so fritzy right now. But that really helped a lot, and I did enjoy those little shorts. I will now continue on to talk about what I read this month. The first book I read was Reign of Shadow by Sophie Jordan. There is a very small window of light in the realms. These monstrous creatures and things have developed in the darkness, so humans are not necessarily at the top of the food chain anymore. It is centered around a girl named Luna, who is blind and is the lost princess of Relhawk. People have said about this book that it is a little bit of a Rapunzel retelling, which is why I picked it up in the first place. I can see some of the Rapunzel aspects only in the fact that this girl is in a tower in the forest. That is it. There is not a lot of other Rapunzel-esque aspects of it that I could find. I don't know. I mean, you could say that about a lot of fairy tale princesses, that they are locked up in the forest somewhere. So there is that. Overall, it was a very interesting read. I enjoyed it for the most part. I did like seeing the perspective of a blind person out in the world and how they could be interacting with the world, since I myself am not blind, so I don't really know what that experience would be like. I also did like some of the darker characters that Jordan developed in this story, and I'm interested to see where this goes. Next up is a book I have been talking about all the time for the past like 3 weeks, and that is My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. I did a full review over this book because, yeah, there are things in this book, and it's just, the title basically explains the premise of this book. Abby and Gretchen have been best friends for a very long time. They've hit high school, and in a very unfortunate trip at the lake, Gretchen begins to slowly change. Abby isn't sure what's going on, and so she's starting to dig deeper and figure out what? And of course, things escalate to the darker side. I love the format of this book. It is set up like a yearbook, so you have all the end of year notes telling you that it was a great year and that you hope you have a good summer and all that kind of stuff. 80s references in the chapter titles are beautiful, and I really like it. It's creepy, it's gory, it is got a wonderful representation of female friendships. I liked it. It is very campy though, so keep that in mind. It feels like an 80s campy horror movie, and for that I loved it. I then read MWF Seeking BFF, My Year-Long Search for a New Best Friend by Rachel Bershey. This is the story of Rachel and her move to Chicago after she marries. She no longer has that best friend that lives right down the street or just around the corner or even in Chicago. She decides to start this quest to find a new BFF. She wants that friend in Chicago that she can just call up and ask why there are pickles in her fridge. I did enjoy reading her perspective on these girl dates, on how you can, all the different ways in which you can try and meet a new best friend and develop that kind of friendship. It was kind of fun to read. I connected to a lot of points because I myself am an introvert, and reaching out to random people like that seems like such a stretch. There are so many giggle points in this little back and forth blog style writing. It is something that I got great entertainment out of, and in this day and age, it's interesting to see all the different ways in which someone can try and make a new BFF. Shayla and I continued on our buddy read of the Parasol and Protector series with Changeless. Gerald Carriger and her writing still fascinates me. This is a continuation of Alexia's story and everything that happened in Soulless. I won't spoil it here, but let's just say the fun and the wit and the sass and the vampires and the werewolves continue on in this book, and there's so many points in which I wanted to strangle different people, and at the end I really wanted to strangle people. So yeah, things. And then here is where my short story kick came into play. I read 2 short stories / novellas by Hugh Howey. The first one being Glitch, which is a story about a humanoid battlebot that is experiencing a glitch in its AI that leads to some questions. The second one was The Plagiarist, which is a story about Adam, who is a plagiarist. He goes into this virtual reality sentient universe that has been developed and discovers stories and writings there, memorizes them, and brings them back into the real world to be published. At this point in time, Adam is questioning his whole life choices and what has led up to him being this plagiarist for pay, and then things make you question your whole existence, and Hugh Howey is just absolutely wonderful at doing that, and I loved it. I then read Ilvermorny School of Witchcraft and Wizardry that J.K. Rowling has put out about the North American Wizarding School. This explains the background of how the school was developed and all the different house systems. I enjoyed it simply because it was an extension of the Harry Potter world, and where I would have ended up if I had so received a letter in which should have happened. Because let's be real, people, I'm in the United States. I probably wouldn't have gone to Hogwarts. That would have made me sad, but at the same time, I love that J.K. Rowling is just extending this universe into all the different countries and all these different places, and it's becoming this global thing. So those were the books, stories, words that I read this month. If you have read any of them, tell me down below and we can start talking about them. And if you can't tell by the totally rambly nature of this wrap-up, I'm a little low on sleep and common sense. So I'm gonna end this video now. Heart your beautiful faces. Bye.